I know how difficult it can be to feel off after eating, and it's so hard to eliminate foods and figure out what it is exactly that's bothering you. Did you know that 1 in 3 Americans think that they're sensitive to gluten, but only about 1% actually have celiac disease? For everyone else, it could be something else in those foods called FODMAPs.
And you've started using FODzyme. How's that working out for you?
Oh, it's so great. So I got this little jar, and I put my FODzyme packets in the jar, and it just sits right on our kitchen counter. It's a tasteless powder that you sprinkle right onto your food, and it helps to break down the FODMAPs, the hard-to-digest components in food that can cause bloating, gas, and pain before they cause discomfort.
So what's the biggest thing you've noticed, the biggest difference?
Bloating.
And FODzyme helps with all of that.
Yeah, think of it like Lactaid, but for garlic and onions, wheat, beans, which is a big one for me, cheese, and other common foods with FODMAPs.
And we believe in FODzyme, and so we're very excited to partner with FODzyme to offer you 30% off your first order when you go to icaneatagain.com/oddities.
That's icaneatagain.com/oddities for 30% off your first order.
Finally, you can enjoy your favorite foods without the pain. Just go to icaneatagain.com/oddities.
Right now, get up to 15% off select storage solutions. Put heavy-duty HDX totes to good use, protecting what's important to you. The solid, impact-resistant design prevents cracking, and the clear base and sides make items easy to find even when the totes are stacked. Find select shelving and tote storage up to 15% off at the Home Depot to organize every room in your home, from your garage to your attic. Visit HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done.
The Box of Oddities.
Happy 250th.
Here in the United States, if you're listening overseas, we are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our declared independence.
We're just a baby.
We're just a baby.
We're just a baby country.
So we thought we'd look back on some stories about founding fathers and presidents that were kind of nutty, kind of kooky.
A little Mr. Roper, if you will.
And one president who almost became a zombie.
Let's step into the Wayback Machine.
Today, it's all about the Benjamins.
Oh,
well,
excellent.
More specifically, the Benjamin.
Benjamin Franklin?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Ben Franklin. He was a weird little dude.
Yes.
In ways that I had no idea. I thought I knew quite a bit about Ben Franklin.
Sure.
He was a weird dude.
Now, you're calling him Ben.
Yeah.
Are you, like, familiar to him? How?
I feel like I know him.
Really?
Yeah.
What about Benji? Can you go with Benji? Are you that close now?
I would say up to about age 12, Benji would have been appropriate.
All right, fine.
Out of respect for one of our founding fathers.
I'm going to call him B. Swizzle.
B. Swizzle Franklin. Mm-hmm. So B. Swizzle, of course, he was a scientist, an author, a statesman, a printer, an activist, a diplomat, the first postmaster general.
Ooh.
And a weird friggin' dude. He's well known for his discoveries and his theories on electricity. He invented the swim fins. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
A lot of people know he invented bifocals.
Sure.
But no, he also invented the swim fins.
That's wonderful.
Yep. And in fact, because of his invention of the swim fins, he was inducted into the Professional Swimmers Hall of Fame.
This is amazing. That's like when I found out that Abraham Lincoln was in the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
What now?
Yeah. Now, he also invented the flexible catheter, and he was inducted into the Flexible Catheter Hall of Fame.
Oh, well deserved. That's what I say.
And, of course, many other inventions that we use today. Now, interestingly enough, and I'm getting my information from Ranker, again, because what a great website that is for weird stuff. The inventions that he is responsible for, he never patented one.
Not even one?
Not even one. Not even bifocal glasses. Not one.
Why?
Well, because he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, he said something about how he's benefited from many other people's inventions, and his inventions were designed with the idea of making life easier for people, and that he did not feel as though he needed to protect them. He wanted them to be available to anybody who could benefit from them. And he thought that maybe in the future, other people would follow his example and also not bother to patent their stuff and just give it to people. Boy, did he get screwed.
Yeah, that didn't work
Yeah.
out. That was a nice thought, though.
Although I think that singing trout invention, that's available.
Oh, that's definitely patented.
Really? Because I see like 18,000 different versions of that. Like there's the Billy Bass and the Tommy Trout.
Those are different fish.
All right.
So tell me more about B. Swizzle Frank Snatch.
B. Swizzle Frank Snatch was born in 1706. He was a middle child. His parents weren't very well to do. Mm-hmm. They made ends meet. They were candle makers and soap peddlers. His parents couldn't afford to send him to school for more than 2 years. He only had 2 years of formal education.
Wow.
By age 10, he was working with his dad. By age 12, he became a printer's apprentice to his brother James. Even though he lacked access to formal education, he read all the time. He was self-taught. He was a pretty smart dude, old Ben Swizzle Frank Snatch. Now, most people know he lived abroad. He was ambassador to France in 1781. When he was there, he penned an essay which is called Fart Proudly. He wrote an essay about farting.
What?
Yep. And he wrote it.
Is this true?
This is true. He called it A Letter to the Royal Academy About Farting. He sent the letter to Richard Price, who was a Welsh philosopher and also a Unitarian minister.
What was his stance on farting?
He proposed that there should be more scientific study conducted into farts.
Okay.
And researchers should work on trying to develop some sort of a drug to make farts less offensive.
Wow.
It was like kind of the forerunner to Beano.
Okay.
He said, quote, "It is universally known that in digesting our common food, there is created or produced in the bowels of human creatures a great quantity of wind, that the permitting of this air to escape and mix with the atmosphere is usually offensive to the company from the fetid smell that accompanies it."
Wow.
Yeah. It was actually quite a lengthy thesis on farting.
I guess so. I wish that we would all come to the understanding that everyone does it and get over it and don't be so weird about it. But I can't really hold that post until other people get on board.
I don't want people to feel as though they can just let loose, especially if you're in a confined space like an airplane. No, thank you.
I just feel like at an airplane, you don't have a lot of options.
Well, you can go into the restroom. There is that option.
Every 6 minutes? Listen, with the ups and downs of an airplane, there's a lot of changes in altitude. There are lots of things going on inside of you.
The pressurized cabin that is affecting, yeah.
I know that my tum-tum goes crazy when we get on airplanes. And so I'm sure that there are a lot of people who don't want to look like they're attempting to get into the Mile High Club just because they have gas.
You do have a point. You can't just crack a window in a plane.
No.
I get that. But for the love of God, maybe planes should pass out those charcoal filtered panties.
Oh, maybe.
That, where did we see those? They should put them right in that Sky Mall magazine.
I agree.
You know, I don't remember where we saw those, but it's supposed to dampen the effect of odoriferous gaseous emissions. Disagreeable effluvia, if you will.
I think they were briefs rather than panties.
Maybe they were.
But,
They should offer a selection.
I would agree.
Ben Franklin almost died from electrocuting a turkey. He tried to cook a turkey with electricity in 1748.
Oh, my goodness.
He wrote to a friend of his in Philadelphia. A guy's name was Peter Collinson. He said he was going to have a picnic on the banks of the river, and he said the main course was going to be turkey, and he planned to cook it on an electric spike. He was going to roast it on what he called an electrical jack, before a fire kindled by the electrified bottle. I'm thinking those were both inventions of his. So he goes to cook the turkey, and there's this big flash of light, and it totally engulfed Franklin. He electrocuted himself while trying to cook the turkey. Later in a letter to his brother, he said that even though he did technically electrocute himself, the biggest injury he sustained was to his ego.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm not sure how great that turkey's going to turn out for you.
After the picnic, though, even though he'd been electrocuted, he ignited flammable liquids with electricity and and set off some explosions.
That's what I do after a picnic.
What a fun guy. Now, we've all heard about how Ben Franklin really didn't bathe. He was not known for his personal hygiene.
Sure, he had other things to do.
Yeah, he had other people to do, too. We'll get to that in a minute. But even though he did not bathe in water, he thought he was keeping himself healthy and clean by taking what he called air baths. He would sit naked in the window of his house and just let the wind kind of blow over him, and he thought that would...
That's really kind of endearing. Like, I'm going to take an air bath now.
Yeah.
Just let the wind take my bodily funk away.
Can you imagine walking through the streets of Philadelphia and looking up on the second floor and seeing a chubby, naked Ben Franklin sitting in the window just dangling his feet and other things, and the wind is just blowing his hair back in a romantic way?
Please, sir, no more.
No more? Yeah, he thought, and he even did it in the wintertime.
Okay, well, that I'm sure was very nice for his skin.
Well, it made his pores really tight.
Sure.
You know, and Ben Franklin notoriously had large pores.
Sure.
But he believed that, of course, now we know that exposing oneself to cold weather, you're apt to get sick. He thought that people got sick in the winter because of the closed-in air. And so he thought fresh air, even if it was cold, was healthy. So,
I mean, closed-in air isn't great either.
No.
He was kind of right.
Regardless, in the dead of winter in Philadelphia, naked Ben Franklin sat in the upper story window of his house, dangling his feet, just kicking them back and forth and waving to the neighborhood kids.
His feet?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. That's so cute. It's time for a wind bath. I don't know why I spoke like that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I look at Ben Franklin and I want to think of him speaking in some sort of a British-like accent.
Yeah.
When in reality, you know, he probably did, actually, now that I think about it. He wasn't that far removed from the British colonies. Anyway, Franklin, as I alluded to a moment ago, was a sexy, sexy man, B-Swizzle was. He had a robust sex life. He may have fathered as many as 15 illegitimate children.
What?
He wrote an essay called Advice on the Choice of a Mistress. And among the suggestions that he gave was to choose a woman as a lover who is older because she will be more grateful for the attention. And then also...
Right. Yeah. I can get on board this.
And then
yes.
he also said that what's good about that too is you really don't notice the woman's age if you turn out the lights.
Sure.
if you're doing her in the dark, you don't really have to know how old she is.
Right.
And yet you still understand the level of gratitude that she has.
Wow, that is
for you.
Something.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
He was married for 38 years, but he had many mistresses. He wrote in his autobiography, "The hard-to-be-governed passion of my youth had hurried me frequently into intrigues with low women that fell in my way."
Low women. Lordy. Wait, I'm sorry, but how is it that the guy who's fucking around is doing it with low women and he's not the low dude? That's
because he took naked air baths, sweetie.
Yeah.
You should know these things by now. I would have thought you'd connected the dots. Here's something that will redeem him in your eyes.
All right.
He was a vegetarian.
Oh, but he cooked that turkey.
Yeah, but I guess that was for other people. When he was 16, Franklin came upon this book, which it was called The Way to Health, Wealth, and Happiness by Thomas Tryon. And part of it was giving up consuming meat. And so in his autobiography, Franklin said, "When I was 16 years of age, I happened to meet with a book written by one Tryon recommending a vegetable diet. I determined to go into it. My brother, just being yet unmarried, did not keep house but boarded himself with his apprentices in another family. My refusing to eat flesh occasioned an inconveniency, and I was frequently chid for my singularity.
I get that. I've been there.
Boy, he had a really good way of turning a phrase for a guy who only had 2 years of school.
Yeah, except for that first part about his brother having just entered into the blah, blah, blah. That was real awkward and clunky.
He would never make it as a copywriter these days.
Oh, no.
Even though he had a printing press.
You'd think that you would have learned to be more concise.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
I heard that's why American language took the U's out of a lot of English words. It's because they were starting to print things, and you could get the word across, like color. You could get the word color across without that U. Shop. We don't need that
Catalog.
extra P and E. We're just going to go with shop, S-H-O-P. I'm French.
B-swizzle.
S-H-O-P. That's enough. You
Shoppy.
get it.
Shoppy. Even though he only had 2 years of formal schooling, he held honorary degrees from Harvard, Yale, and Oxford. That's pretty good
Well done.
for a naked fat guy sitting in the window in the winter.
Sure.
When he was in France, when he was a diplomat in France, he was thought of as a fashion icon because he wore fur hats all the time. Franklin traveled to France with instructions from the Continental Congress to seek military aid for the American Revolution. And he was renowned, of course, worldwide by this time for his experiments with lightning. But he also made quite a few waves with the fashion elite for his nondescript clothing and fur hats. People were dazzled by the look of the American frontiersman.
He was from Philadelphia.
Yeah. But he donned a fur hat, and they figured he, probably
All right.
was
You're
out
like
there.
Davy Crockett.
He's out in Kentucky somewhere. He created the first volunteer fire department in the United States.
Really?
He believed that fire prevention methods needed improvement. This was probably after the Turkey incident.
Sure.
He even published several articles in the Pennsylvania Gazette about the issue. As a result, the Union Fire Company was created in 1736 and was even playfully known as Ben Franklin's Bucket Brigade, or B-Swizzle's Bucket Brigade, as we would say today.
The BFBB.
And then the last weird thing that I found out about Ben Franklin was that 10 bodies were found in his basement. What? 200 years after he lived there. He lived in a 4-story Georgian house on Craven Street in London from 1757 to 1775. And about 200 years later, the house was being converted into a museum. I guess it was like 1998. And a construction worker came across something a little unusual in Ben's basement. It was a human thigh bone sticking out of the dirt floor.
Oh.
Police were called, of course, to investigate. And they did a pretty thorough investigation because people are thinking, was Ben a serial killer?
Oh, my goodness.
They found 1,200 pieces of bone belonging to an estimated 10 people. 6 of them were children. And as I said, the bones were at least 200 years old. Most had been sawed and drilled into.
Oh.
So what was going on there? Was he experimenting? Was he doing anatomy experiments in his basement?
Sure. I mean, he had an interest in a lot of things, right?
Sure. But that wasn't the case. He was friends with a man named William Hewson, a former student of the anatomist William Hunter. And scholars believe that Hewson used Franklin's basement for his own personal lab. It's unclear whether or not Ben knew what he was doing down there.
Ben, listen, you mind if I dump a bunch of bodies in your basement? You're a good friend, Ben.
Can I borrow your shovel and quicklime again, Ben? Thanks. Oh, and don't go downstairs.
That's fascinating. Wonderful, sweetie.
Thank you. Ben Franklin. B-Swizzle Frank Snatch. What did you call him?
I don't know.
Since we moved back from Ecuador, I've stepped up my fashion game. Trying to buy clothes in Ecuador was a challenge for me because everybody's so tiny, you know?
Were known in the neighborhood as being melon head.
But in Spanish.
Cabeza de melón.
So since we've been back, I've been repopulating my wardrobe and updating it, and I've been doing it at Quince, and I love everything they have.
Your blue shorts that you got from Quince, They're just the right length, so you've got a little bit of that Magnum PI thigh going on,
Yeah.
but not too much. And they always look good, even if I don't fold them right away. Just stay in the laundry for a while.
Yeah. The best summer pieces are the ones you end up wearing on repeat, and those shorts, one of them. Comfortable, versatile, and somehow right for almost every occasion, without the traditional retail markup.
I have a perfect linen dress that I got from Quince because it is lightweight, it's breathable, it looks good. I just keep reaching for it in my closet.
You get quality, you get affordability, and they also have bedding and bath products.
Quince isn't just clothes, but man, do I love their clothes.
Make your summer wardrobe feel easier. Go to quince.com/oddities for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
Now available in Canada, too.
Yee.
That's QUINCE.com/oddities for free shipping and 365-day returns.
Quince.com/oddities. Well, if you know anything about us, you know that we have weird eyeballs.
We sure do.
And so it's important to us, if we're going to have to wear glasses, to look good.
And you know me, I'm frugalicious. So I will sometimes put off buying new glasses because I don't want to pay for them. But that is not a problem anymore because of Zenni. Zenni is an online eyewear shop. Prescription glasses, sunglasses, blue light lenses, starting at under $30.
And we have just ordered our Zenni glasses.
It was super easy. You go to zenni.com, pick a frame, upload your prescription, and they ship right to your door.
And they start at under $30.
No appointment, no store, no upsell at the counter. You don't have to watch someone wait for you trying on glasses.
Over 150,000 five-star reviews. And if you've never bought glasses online before, Zenni has a virtual try-on so you can see exactly what your frame is going to look like on your face, or in my case, my big fat face. What I have found is that I can't wear the round frames. It makes my face look fatter. I wear the rectangular frames that are a little more oblong.
You look beautiful in anything that you put on your face, but Zenni sure does help. If your glasses are overdue for a refresh, now's the time.
Go to zenni.com/podcast and use code podcast15 for 15% off your first order.
The styles do sell out, so don't sit on it. That's zenni.com/podcast. Promo code podcast15.
And now, that thing in the middle.
That thing in the middle, this episode, it's not so great moments in presidential history. The LBJ version. He was a crusty guy, LBJ. Apparently a little crass. He did some things that were, I guess, uncomfortable for people around him. Like when he was in the House of Representatives, he'd start the morning by just peeing outside in the parking lot. And then when somebody would see him do it, he would just turn around and flash his wang at him and say, "I call this jumbo. Have you ever seen anything this big?"
Mr. President, that's sexual harassment.
Yeah, and apparently there were a lot of female secretaries that witnessed this.
Yeah.
He also allegedly had crude habits where he would, according to one of his aides, scratch his ass, quote, deeply. Oh. He'd pick his nose, and then he'd drape his arm around you. He would fart during hearings. Just let him rip.
Oh, Lord.
Oftentimes, he would interrupt a meeting and go into, to the bathroom, and he would request that his aide come in with him, and he'd sit there
into the bathroom?
Yeah, he would sit there on the toilet just taking a dump, dictating to his hapless aide standing by, thinking,
"Oh no,
oh good Lord, why did I have to get into politics?" When he was the president, he was at LBJ Ranch in Texas, and he asked Secret Service to pull over so he could relieve himself. According to one historian, one Secret Service man was standing near him and felt warm water on his leg. He looked down and he said, "Mr. President, you're urinating on me." And Johnson's response was, "I know I am. It's my prerogative."
Well, that's just rude.
One time he was ordering pants.
This is one of my favorite things ever.
And we have got the audio of him ordering pants. This came from the presidential archive. This is real. This is not fake. This is LBJ ordering pants in his own crass style.
Mr. Hager? Yes, this is Joe Hager. Joe, is your father the one that makes clothes? Yes, sir. We're all together. Y'all made me some real lightweight slacks. that he just made up on his own, sent to me 3 or 4 months ago. It's a kind of a light brown and a light green, rather soft green and soft brown, and they're real lightweight. Now, I need about 6 pairs for summer wear. I want them half an inch larger in the waist than they were before, except I want 2 or 3 inches of stuff left back in there so I can take them up. I vary 10 to 15 pounds a month, so leave me at least 2.5 to 3 inches in the back where I can let them out or take them up. The pockets, when you sit down in a chair, the knife and your money comes out, so I needed at least another inch in the pockets. Now, another thing, the crotch down where your nuts hang is always a little too tight. So when you make them up, give me an inch that I can let out there, because they cut me. They're just like riding a wire fence. When I gain a little weight, they cut me under there. So let's see if you can't leave me about an inch from where the zipper ends, round under my back to my bunghole, so I can let it out there if I need to.
Yeah, because you don't want pants riding up into your presidential bunghole. That's not good.
Something about the way he speaks reminds me of my dad, but my dad would never pee on you.
This episode is brought to you by Google Chrome. You think you know a browser, but Gemini and Chrome? That's new. It can help you with practically anything on the web, like restoring a vintage motorcycle from a 50-page restoration blog, or finally break down that long article you've had open for weeks. Gemini and Chrome is here for it. Ready to make anything online make sense? There's no place like Chrome. Check responses, setup required, compatibility and availability varies, 18+.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast instead of doom scrolling? Smart move. Another smart move? Getting help from one of State Farm's 19,000 local agents when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
If you laid all our boxes of oddities end to end, you'd have, well, a lot of open boxes. You know, all laid end to end. This is the Box of Oddities.
All right, so on December 13th, 1799, George Washington rode his horse through icy rain, snow, and hail. He rushed home for dinner and didn't change out of his damp clothes because he hated to be late. And he, for that, paid the price. That night, Washington woke up clutching his chest, almost unable to breathe, and his wife, Martha, frantically called for help. Today, we are going to talk about, and I think this is interesting that you talked about cryogenics, because I'm going to talk about how close we came to a Washington zombie.
What?
So,
Speak more of this.
2 men, James Craik, who had treated Washington for over 4 decades, he was a doctor, and George Rawlins, an expert in the art of bloodletting, treated the ailing president throughout the night. I should note that I've got almost all of this from Weird History, and I did go to other sites, and I checked it out, and this was just from where I pulled most of the information. So big thanks, Weird History. I love it. Colonel Lear gave Washington a tonic made from molasses, butter, and vinegar, which actually nearly choked the president. But they thought for some reason that would help with his viral chest issue that he was dealing with.
Or just make a delicious topping for pancakes.
So every few hours, Rawlins removed blood to, quote, cool the president's fever, which, bloodletting is something that they did for years. And unfortunately, by dusk on December 14th, he had taken out nearly 40% of George Washington's blood.
Oh my God.
You just can't keep doing that.
No,
that doesn't
no.
help. So George Washington died just after 10 o'clock on December 14th,
From lack of
1799.
blood?
From a combination of a viral infection of his throat and the bloodletting treatments.
Oh my God.
Dr. William Thornton rushed to Mount Vernon to try and save the president's life after he heard about what was going on. He was a specialist in performing tracheotomies, which were really new and dangerous, but he was confident that he could relieve Washington of his suffering. But unfortunately, by the time he got to the house, Washington was already dead. He, though, was not deterred. He still believed that he could help by bringing the man's corpse back to life.
How have I never heard about this?
So Dr. William Thornton was not just an expert in tracheotomies. He had also read about the history of blood transfusions in the 17th century. These experiments were deemed so dangerous that the procedure was banned in France, but Thornton believed that it still might work. So he had done all this research, and I'm going to try to catch you up a little bit. So the very first attempt at a blood transfusion occurred in 1492. Can you imagine that? Pope Innocent the Eighth fell into a coma, and his physician recommended blood and hired 3 young boys to donate blood to the Pope. So the technology to inject blood intravenously didn't exist. So according to one account, the physician poured the blood into the Pope's mouth.
No!
That did not work, by the way. The Pope died, and so did all 3 boys. That's not how you do a blood transfusion. No. That's just a basic understanding of where your throat goes.
Let's just pour some blood down his throat, and maybe it'll make its way in there somehow. It'll just leak into the veins.
But there was some groundbreaking medical work of William Harvey in the 1620s that brought blood back into the spotlight. So Harvey demonstrated that blood circulated through the body, meaning that it was possible to insert new blood into someone's veins. So by the 17th century, scientists also designed metal tools that could inject blood into the veins. And this combination of technology and scientific theory set off a wave of blood experiments.
And this was when?
In the 17th century.
Okay.
Most of these experiments, though, were on animals, and it's pretty upsetting, so I'm actually going to skip most of that.
You're more upset about them experimenting blood transfusions on animals in the 17th century than Ted Williams' severed frozen head.
So scientists also wondered if it was even safe to give a human a blood transfusion. If the blood and the soul were connected, they wondered, would a blood transfusion threaten your soul? So the concern was that maybe who you are is contained in your blood.
I think it says in the Bible, life is in the blood.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It actually became a problem, though, later on, and we'll get to that. There was a successful human blood transfusion on a French doctor called Jean-Baptiste Denis, and that happened in 1667. This doctor was an expert in animal transfusions, and he performed public transfusions out in public. It was like he did it to show, hey, look what I can do. And so he would just bring his stuff, like his medical stuff, out onto the street.
Like a street juggler?
Yes, exactly like that.
Wow.
Yeah. It was gross. And he thought it was barbarian to shorten the life of one man to extend the life of another because they didn't understand how blood worked.
Sure.
And so they thought if you were taking blood out of one person to give it to another one, that means that he would just inevitably live less. So he used animal blood. And in 1667, he gave lamb's blood to a 16-year-old who suffered from fevers. And
How'd that go?
They said it worked.
No.
The guy lived. Whether or not it was because of that transfusion, I'm not saying. But what I'm saying is the boy didn't die.
Wow.
In November of 1667, there was another plan for a human-animal transfusion. And physicians said that this guy, whose last name is Koga, his brain was too warm, which is what caused mental illness. So they needed a regular temperature blooded person, a regular temperature blood to put into his body to cool his brain so he wouldn't be mentally ill anymore. And so they did that. They pumped a bunch of lamb's blood into this man, and he did okay. He didn't die. He actually came back a couple weeks later for a second transfusion. again, did okay.
How is this possible?
Not long after that, though, they wanted to do a third transfusion, and he said no because it was turning him into a sheep. And
that would be my fear.
He began writing letters to people and signing it with Koga the sheep, and said that he had turned into another species. That didn't work out well for that guy named Koga. The biggest setback, though, in blood transfusions came, and you could call it a setback, or you could call it, whoa, just calm the hell down, stop doing what you're doing. It came in 1667 when they tried to cure a man with calf's blood, and he began having seizures and died. And so... They said, yeah, you can't do that. William was actually charged. The doctor in that case was actually charged with murder in that case. He wasn't, he didn't end up going to jail for it, though. So now that you know a little bit about that business, let's go back to December 15th, 1799, when William Thornton looked at the frozen corpse of George Washington, and he believed that he could bring Washington back, even after rigor mortis had set in, by combining heat, air, and blood.
So when you say frozen, you mean just from rigor mortis?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. No, they didn't have the cryogenics lab up and running.
Or tuna cans.
It's 1799. So, excuse me. Thornton called for cold water to slowly be warmed over the president's body. He said, by degrees and by friction, give him warmth. This will revive the president's cold blood vessels, and the blood vessels needed to be warmed in order to perform the tracheotomy. He wanted to open up George Washington's throat so he could get air into him, which there was nothing blocking his throat, by the way. You can just put your mouth on his mouth. Anyway, so they wanted to artificially inflate his lungs with air and then use the lamb's blood to provide all the vital energy to, quote, spark the president's life force. In the end, though, Thornton's plan to resurrect the president was overruled by the Washington family. They were not so much concerned with whether or not it could be done, but if it should be done. They were like, okay, so George Washington has lived this amazing life. He's what's that word? You know, with the straight back, and he's all like, I do good things, burp, burp, burp. And they were like, we can't just play around with your zombie lamb's blood and mess with him. So, in short, death was better than a Frankenstein president resurrected with lamb's blood. William Thornton, by the way, was very upset by this. Two decades later, he wrote, there was no doubt in my mind that his restoration was possible. And unfortunately, it was squashed by those dang Washingtons who just wouldn't let him do what he wanted to do with the lamb's blood. Yeah, and that's the story of how we almost had a zombie Washington.
That's incredible. I had never heard that story before.
Yeah.
And I dive deep.
On
weird stuff, especially weird historical facts.
Yeah, you're a rabbit hole kind of guy.
I am a rabbit hole kind of guy.
Yeah, as soon as I started reading about this, I was like, oh, I need more.
So did they say how long he'd been dead by the time they got there with the lamb's blood?
It was the next day.
It was a day.
Yeah.
It was an entire day.
Yeah.
It's kind of like their version of cryonics, isn't it?
So, yeah, I think it's really interesting that you and I both came to the table with topics of bringing people back to life. Did we give each other signals by way of our brainwaves?
Maybe.
Okay.
Some kind of a ethereal connection mentally. Let me ask you this.
Go.
Let's say that all these frozen bodies are never revived. And civilization, our civilization is destroyed or almost entirely destroyed. Thousands of years from now, civilization rises again. Archaeologists find these guys that are frozen in tubes. Let's just hypothetically think, that the power stayed on so that they, there's some sort of a way to keep them frozen. Would they look at it as some sort of a religious ceremony, a rite of passage type of thing? Or would they understand what it was really for? And I ask this because maybe the ancient Egyptians were doing that. not freezing, but mummifying with the idea that, hey, maybe in the future, someone can bring these guys back to life.
It's an interesting thought. I mean, who knows? There were some really wacko ideas out there back in the day. So, maybe that's the case. I just don't see how filling their bellies with flowers and jewels and removing the brain
through the nose
would have helped them later on in life. In general,
most of them are in Congress. It seems. No, but I mean, theoretically.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying.
Egyptian mummies with DNA and cloning and that sort of thing, isn't it at least possible?
Sure.
That could happen?
I see your point, sir.
I think I'd rather be mummified than frozen.
It seems more dignified, doesn't it?
It does. Flowers in the belly as opposed to a head on a
Plus,
tuna can.
you know how sensitive I am about being cold.
That's right.
I don't like it at all.
How about that?
Yeah, that's some crazy stuff. I love the fact that Ben Franklin hung out in his upstairs window naked, taking an air bath. We need more of that in today's society.
Do we?
Hey, if you're not naked and dangling from a window, you're not a patriot. Patriotism swells in the heart of the American broadcaster.
Do you mean that patriotism swells in the heart of the American voyeurist? Because
perhaps.
That sounds a little kinky.
It goes hand in hand.
Sure.
Anyway, theboxofoddities.com. For those of you who are in the U.S., happy 250. We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep flying that freak flag.
And fly it proudly, you beautiful freak.
And so, let it be known that the Box of Oddities belongs to you, and its fate is in your hands. We wish to offer our deeply felt gratitude and appreciation for your patronage. TheBoxOfOddities.com. Copyright 2026, all rights reserved.
Uncovered windows can make your home feel up to 20 degrees hotter. Stay cool and save up to 50% off custom window treatments during the 4th of July mega sale at Blinds.com. From outdoor shades to room darkening blinds, finding the perfect fit is easy. Get free samples, expert design help, and professional measure and install services. Or DIY with confidence and support every step of the way. Shop up to 50% off site-wide, plus huge savings on doorbusters right now during the 4th of July mega sale at Blinds.com.
You want to get your backyard summer ready, but you don't want to break the bank? Wayfair gets it. Planning on dining al fresco or relaxing poolside? Wayfair has everything you need to prep your space. Shop now and save up to 70% off during Wayfair's 4th of July clearance. Score huge deals on outdoor furniture, area rugs, and more. We're talking thousands of products for every style and budget. Plus, surprise flash deals July 6th. Don't wait. Shop Wayfair's 4th of July clearance now through July 6th at wayfair.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.